This is Charles Cahill with TravelMole TV with Mr. Sean Flakelar, who's a country manager in Indonesia for Amanresorts. Thank you for inviting us here.
You're welcome. Nice to have you here.
Amanresorts has quite a presence here in Indonesia. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we've been here over 20 years. Boutique hotels really began back in the early or late 80s, and Amandari was built in 89. That was the start of Amanusa's presence in Bali, and we grew to, now we are 5 in the country, 3 in Bali and 1 in Java, Central Java, and then in the island of Moyo, which is our tented camp, and that's our 5th property in Indonesia. They're all very different. They're all located in different areas of Bali and Indonesia, and they all offer a very different guest experience, but they all have the same underlining philosophy that the AMANs represent. And basically we run them like homes. We basically treat our guests like family, and we try and offer that personal service that the other bigger hotels are unable to really achieve. So I think for guests coming to Indonesia for the first time, they have the opportunity to not just experience Bali, but go east and west of Bali and have a complete picture of what there is to do in Indonesia as a country.
When you say each one is different and the experience is different, can you give a couple of examples?
Well, if you look at, say, Amandari, for instance, it's in the cultural hub of the island. It's where a lot of the artists live. It's a lot of where the rice fields are, where a lot of the main temples in Bali are located. This is the cultural experience for the guests. They get to really see the rural and spiritual side of Bali. Further to the eastern coast, you have Amankila, which is on the coast. So it's more about the beach. It's more about also culture, but also relaxing on the beach. And then from those 2 properties, you go to Amanwana, where you have the tented camp, and that's located on Moyo, where you have fantastic diving. So the experience there is all about the water. It's about sailing. It's about fishing. It's the outdoors. So you can mix it up depending what the guests like. If they like to relax on the beach, or they like a bit of culture, or they want to do a bit of diving, or go further afield to Java, where we have Amanjiwa, which overlooks the Borobudur Temple. And the Borobudur Temple, which is the largest Buddhist monument in the world, offers again another different cultural experience, which a lot of the guests now are starting to visit and discover.
So probably you have many guests who move around. On one visit to Indonesia might stay at 2 of your properties.
Yeah, they like to combine, especially if they're coming a long way. If they come from Europe or America, it's a long haul. So they tend to stay for, a week to 10 days. And they tend to mix it up a bit. They tend to see a bit of culture, and then they either go out to Amanwana or stay on the beach and visit Amanusa or Amankila, so they can, see a little bit of a different part of the island, but also experience a different guest experience in the different properties.
Food experience-wise, what would they find? Let's take the Indonesian properties. Do they reflect local, or it's just quite diverse?
It's interesting you ask that, because in Indonesia, like Thailand, like Italy, it's very regional. And from Java to Bali to Moyo, the cuisines change. And although the ingredients is similar, it's the way that they use them. What we try to do at the properties, our food program, we always try and keep the recipes authentic. We have local team, our executive chefs are from other countries, but the majority of the kitchen brigade are from Bali or Java, and they we let them, a lot of the recipes come from them. So we try and keep it authentic. We don't try and play with it, but we try and offer the best, the freshest ingredients that we can get. So the quality of the cuisine is lifted, but in the same time we try and respect the local flavour and the authenticity of that recipe. So yes, we do offer Balinese, we offer Javanese in the various properties. We also do Western option, which normally is depending on the chef and where they're from. Here in Amanusa we do very nice Italian, just to offer that difference, that variety, and I think most of our guests, they appreciate the approach, and the chefs themselves, they have a very good hand on what they're doing. They are on the stove, they're not just sitting in a desk, they're hands-on cooking, so that makes a big difference.
The Amanusa here, how many rooms?
We're 35.
35, yeah. So you can be very personal, with the guests, as well as in the kitchen.
That's correct, yeah. And my background actually was from the kitchen, and I still enjoy it, but obviously I don't have the time as much as I used to. But
can understand.
The food element and the food experience is a very important part of the guest experience, and we've never really tried to do fancy food. We do honest, good, honest food that the produce speaks for itself, and the flavours, obviously, but we try to keep it fairly simple, and that approach has worked in Indonesia.
How do you keep the guests entertained, say, in the evening?
A lot of the guests, depends on the property. A lot of the guests at Amanusa are up early for the sunrise. They're out all day visiting the temples. In that particular property, during the high season, we have a lot of performances at night, like we do with the other properties, but they tend to go to bed. A lot of guests go to bed early over there. Here in Bali it's different. There's a lot more on offer. A lot of the guests can go out and explore other restaurants, but with our particular property we do also bring in some very good performances. Performers who do the Balinese dance, and that, for someone who's never been here, is very interesting for them. Amandari does a great cultural program up there. They have a lot of performers that come into the hotel. They also take the guests out into the village, and they can actually see the ceremonies and the performances happening, which a lot of the guests like to do. They like to go out into the villages and see that, so they can see a little bit of both. We bring in some guest speakers quite a lot into the properties, whether it's their archaeologists or their experts in marine biology, or depending on the property again. But we also offer before dinner a lot of guest speakers who come in. Tonight we're doing a wine dinner from a winemaker from Australia, and he's come here today to present his wines, but we've also invited some guests to join us so they can meet the winemaker and experience the wines and the food. So we try and mix it up as best we can.
In terms of community slash social responsibility, green, sustainable tourism?
Yeah, very important these days. You've got to give back. And that's, I think now more and more is there's an emphasis on that. We work with the local communities, the villages. We have programs that we contribute to, and we're looking at, even for Amanusa, is on Sunday we're looking at the Save the Bali Starling, which is a new program we want to do to help bring back the indigenous bird back to Bali. And that's something I'm excited to do for Amanusa. But Amankila, they work with a very poor village on the eastern side of Mount Agung, where there's no electricity, very little medical, and they contribute to that regularly. as does Amanusa. They've built the local schools out on the island. They've helped set up the Moyo Conservation Fund, and that they do a turtle breeding program there, and they also have done a deer breeding program to bring back the indigenous deer. So there's all sorts of different things that we contribute to, and it's an important aspect of working with the local communities, because after all, we're visitors in their country, and there's a lot of people in need, and we're very happy to participate.
Sean Flakelar, Indonesia Country Manager for Amanresorts, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
That's the Thai Indonesian restaurant. Italian restaurant downstairs.